Hi everyone, today's video recap will be nowadays one of the most trending, popular post-war and drama film of 2022, it is, Burial. The film was written and directed by Ben Parker. At Stalin's order, a group of Russian warriors attempted to covertly transport the horrendous Führer's corpse to Moscow. This was a brief introduction to film, and now let's begin to dive into the plot and enjoy watching. Likes and subscriptions are highly appreciated. The film begins in London on Christmas Eve in 1991. Anna Marshall is paying attention to the news on her TV, which declares the resignation of the Russian president, Mikhail S. Gorbachev. Before long, an invader, wearing a wolf mask, breaks into her home. However, Anna is ready. She tackled and handcuffed him up in her bedroom. He is a neo-Nazi, named Karl Edward, requests to know reality behind the mission that she had embraced after the Second World War finished. Karl uncovers that he knows about Anna's mystery not long before she is going to call the police. He knows that Brana Vasilieva Brodskaya, a previous Soviet commando who is presently known as Anna Marshall, was the main female knowledge official in the Russian soldiers for a profoundly characterized secret mission to move a huge thing they found at Hitler's chancellery shelter to Moscow. The youthful neo-Nazi was recounted to her story by an elderly person. What did the bunker contain? Anna allowed him his last request. Anna blows a mystery powder in front of him, takes him out, lets him know every bit of relevant information when he is semi-cognizant, and invalidates his intel. Anna reviews the hour of 1945, the most recent couple of long periods of the Second World War, when she was Brana Vasilieva Brodskaya, a youthful lieutenant in the Russian power. Stalin gave her and her fellow leaders the thumbs up for a stealthy activity to convey the Triumph keepsake, the collection of Hitler in a dugout in Berlin, to Moscow. Brana was asked by individual official Tor Olenek why they needed to incinerate it consistently, and she answered that it was to keep it in the outright stowaway. Despite the fact that somebody might in any case kill them while they were sleeping, they wouldn't track down this mystery dugout, assuming it was covered profound and stowed away. Brana kept on encountering bad dreams in which she got up in a fortification and saw Hitler end it all in the finish of the Nazi realm. The next morning, they got up and continued voyaging. However, unexpectedly, a sharpshooter struck them, killing an individual official, companion colonel simultaneously. Brana perceived the shooter as a werewolf, an individual from the Nazi armed forces opposition bunch that works past the foe lines after they had thumped him down following a short gun. This power, which was Joseph Goebbels' thought, is comprised of ordinary residents who have been indoctrinated. To give this power a really frightening portrayal, it is named after the mythic werewolf. Official Vadim Ilyasov needed to camp out there around evening time, yet Brana was worried that there were different werewolves around and needed to proceed with their excursion with nothing to do. Ilyasov's reckless activities enraged Brana, since it was perilous and hazardous to fall to pieces into bunches in this delicate situation. Tor, Grigory, and Iosif Gulyaev hung tight for their partners in the wild while discussing the presence of werewolves. They were essentially tricks who would not quit any pretense of, as per Pinnacle. Iosif enlightened them by telling the origin story of Keepsake Mori, a Latin saying that signifies remember death. Rome's residents hollered it at their returning fighters who had beaten the grave and vanquished their enemies. Basically, to act as a wake-up call that they were humans, rather than divine beings, they were told to remember passing. Tor informed him that due to the fierceness, the universal conflict was as of now not simply a battle. Obviously, Brana held up a peace prior to going to search for Ilyasov and his companions. They were in the town's bar, reveled in liquor, and got rowdy with Justina, the hotel's leader. Brana heard a shout and rushed over to the bistro, where she found Ilyasov, an upset man, attacking Justina. A shooter mediated during a battle that Brana was having with the intoxicated Ilyasov. Brana rushed to the bar in the wake of hearing a shot there prior to inquisitive about his area. Two of their officials were found to be dead. At the point when Macker, an individual official, recovered cognizance, he informed the others that their lethal condition was brought about by the dangerous smoke in the chamber. They were told by the shooter, Lucas, that the werewolves utilized these techniques to kill Russians. They butchered their objectives by consuming lichens and mushrooms, which delivered stimulating exhaust and befuddled their prey. The werewolves looked out for outsiders as they moved around the shrubs where they stayed. Anna rushed to the wilderness when she understood her friends in the secret compartment were in harm's way. Thor turned out to be abruptly mindful that something was awry in the timberland. He heard a few strides, however, because of his pipe dreams, he couldn't decide their area. As the werewolves hoodwinked them with the smoke, every one of them three had a similar encounter. Iosif was saved by Brana, Ilyasov, and Lucas, whom they met in the bistro, and Grigory confronted a horrible end. However, Tor got isolated. He, in daydream, endeavored to escape somewhere new yet was fruitless, and the werewolves ultimately snatched him. The werewolves had taken the Russian vehicle. and there was no method for moving Hitler's breaking down body, Lucas accompanied them to a solid home where they could maintain their top mystery compartment safe. The disclosure of Hitler's body in that secret box astonished everybody in the house. Lucas's help permitted Branna to hide it in an underground room. Branna addressed him in the event that this mystery chamber filled in as his concealing spot. Lucas answered that he was a Volksdeutsche, a non-German resident from Poland with German family, language, and culture. During the Nazi intrusion, he had a solitary, clear choice, to enlist in the military or go to a concentration camp. Lucas assented to go with them on the grounds that the Nazis had vowed to save his significant other from being shipped off a work camp, however they broke their statement. In the camp, his better half was killed. So presently, both the Soviets and the werewolves are after Lucas. He disdained Hitler so unequivocally that he prompted Branna not to put her life in danger and asked her to set the body ablaze. Branna, nonetheless, declined to lower her thoughts essentially on the grounds that it was a risky errand. She guaranteed that since individuals in her country needed to look at their adversaries without flinching, she expected to convey this body to Stalin, alongside the dental records, to Moscow as evidence. Then again, Tor was ruthlessly tortured by the werewolves in return for data. They assembled before the house when they some way or another discovered that the Russian troopers were conveying their departed Führer. At the point when Tor and his troop were brought together, the werewolves arsoned the house after a progression of brief gunfights during which their different officials were killed. At the point when Branna, Tor, and Iosif went out, they noticed no close-by individuals. They rushed to Lucas's mysterious basement, where they found that werewolves had proactively taken the body and escaped. Branna pointlessly endeavored to follow the truck, however just saw the werewolves leaving with the body. Branna without a doubt deserted every last bit of her desires. She was profoundly disturbed since she couldn't complete the orders she was expected to. At the point when she out of nowhere heard that werewolves were available in the congregation, she restored every last bit of her expectations. She mentioned everybody to go with her and salvage the body. She was stubbornly set out to uncover Hitler's revolting remaining parts to her countrymen, the one who had ruthlessly butchered large number of everyone. Branna would have rather not recognized that this terrible person, who had for quite a long time covered individuals' expectation, couldn't be executed with such ease. She wished to exhibit to the public that this evil spirit was actually a weak human man who had terminated. At the point when the body was taken to a church, the werewolves found that it initially had a place with Hitler. Be that as it may, Wolfram Graber, a werewolf official, wanted to satisfy an alternate reason. He cautioned everybody to note and tape that this body was a phony and not Hitler's. To keep the public accepting that Hitler was as yet alive, they simply needed to spread bogus data. Despite the fact that the idea was unwarranted, Wolfram held out trust that the local area would before long be reinforced by the cooperation of the isolated and bamboozled Nazis. Wolfram was an unhinged Nazi who was able to give his life to save the tradition of Hitler at any expense. Subsequent to recording their creation and starting an examination, Branna, Tor, Lucas, and Iosif broke into the congregation. Just Branna and Lucas could make do after a ruthless fight among them and the werewolves. Iosif forfeited himself to help Branna in getting away. The petroleum bomb set the house of prayer ablaze. Graber, a gay Nazi, didn't escape the fire and died alongside his chief. Tor secured himself in the storm cellar with the body and the tapes and surrendered to the fire. Wilhelm Keitel, the central leadership of Nazi Germany's military, was unintentionally marking the German acquiescence simultaneously. No one endeavored to look for the Russian fighters, expecting or it were all around dead to trust that they. In spite of being an equipped warrior, Branna was moved to the Siberian Gulag in the wake of showing up in Moscow, where she was detained for 6 cold years. There she covered the presence of being Branna, her convictions and standards, and the evidence of her secret mission. After Branna's demise, Anna was conceived and has been carrying on with her life, killing any thoughts of coming clean with the world, similar as the phoenix coming back to life. Subsequent to being liberated, Anna got back to Poland and met Lucas, who not just had been close by at the most exceedingly awful snapshots of her life yet in addition assisted her with reassembling herself from every last bit of her messed up bits. Anna found a pendant with a skull on Karl's neck. Back in 1945, after the fire-related crime pulverization, Lucas found and saved the pendant, which as a general rule had a place with Tor. Anna discovered that Lucas had been killed in Poland and messed up by a gatecrasher into his home. It is without question that Karl attacked and killed Lucas. Anna remedied Karl by expressing that history isn't chronicled by the victorious yet rather by the people who endured and made do. At the point when these survivors die, history keeps on being rehashed to keep up with the cycle. Karl was at long last given a deadly portion, and not long before he shut his eyes everlastingly, Anna showed him a gift from a green box that Lucas had sent her as a keepsake. Regardless of the way that the producer decided not to uncover what was inside the container, it is in all probability a piece of Hitler's skull or dentition. The film closes with dying Karl, to whom Anna showed a wonderful box and its items to fulfill every one of his questions concerning another container. Thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed the film. Don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to my channel for more videos and updates.